artists selected to obviously show your goods, your talents, your wares here in the mezzanine, the lobby of Roy Thompson Hall. So can you describe what your style is?
My style? My style is just draft style, really. When they asked me to do a piece, I was like, asked them what kind of concept they wanted. They said, well, you're the artist, kind of do your thing, you know? So I chose to do a jazz style piece where players playing a sax or horn, whatever. I just did, you know, draft style.
And yeah, the writing is sort of the graffiti, that it's an element of the hip-hop world. Do you often team up with hip-hop artists while they're performing?
I do a thing in Hamilton called Concrete Canvas Graffiti Showcase. So yes, it's like people are performing, got DJs, breakers, and graffiti artists are basically just doing the backdrop and doing the canvases.
So is this a whole other world for you to team with?
So.
You've got a rock band, Big Wreck, you've got a symphony orchestra, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, you've got Japanese taiko drummers, opera singer, harp players, acrobats. No hip-hop.
No, but I mean, I brought the element. The first time they've ever let spray cans in the Roy Thompson Hall, so that's kind of fresh, you know? So, yeah, I'm liking it.
Excellent. And what have people been saying to you about your work?
We did all of that with cans and, you know, just taking a look at it and saying they like it, or the smell kind of gets to them being indoors with the fumes, but overall, people are enjoying it.
So how many cans of paint did you use for this one?
So far, around 5 cans. It's really stretching because after I initially found the canvas, it's just, there's not a lot of colors down yet. It's still kind of just developing and bringing in more colors and bringing it out.
Will you be able to finish it this evening?
Hopefully I'll get close to. I got time to work on it after if I need to, but hopefully I'll get close to finishing it.
And what's left, do you think?
What's left? I still got to bring some more color in the fill, break the fill up. I got to do my drop shadow, bring the character out a little bit more with the highlights back to bring his eyes out. I'm just working on the shadowing right now, so I don't want to get in too dark right away, so I'm kind of trying to build up the red tone and then bring some gray in it to mist it and bring the shadow in.
So I imagine a lot of the concert goers tonight have never seen such a work as yourself, except, you know, under the subway systems or under a bridge or on the side of a building. Is that ever yours? Are you a late night worker on the street?
It might be. You know, I don't want to blow up my spot, but it might be.
Yeah. And how did you hook up with Tamorier?
I got a store in Hamilton called the Boom Spot. It's a clothing store. Log on www.boomspot.com. Shameless plug, but you know, it's a clothing store, and I do, like I said, that graffiti expo every year, and they've seen my work around, and they contacted me to do this, and I was like, all right.
Excellent. Thank you. And your name?
Mine's Leon. Peace. Yeah, there is. There's a
doing a webcast on this entire event, and I know that you were invited here to show what you're capable of, which we all see is tremendous.
A work in progress here. The first half of this evening's performance will begin in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, please.
Okay, so tell me what your idea was and what they asked you to create.
Well, they didn't. Well, other than I guess music and arts, nothing really. But I had myself, and my daughter had studied cello lessons years ago, so my tendency was towards the classical. So, and I had done a number of paintings over the years on the sort of music series anyway. So it was nothing new in that sense, other than blowing it up to this scale. So it's.
So do you think you'll finish this work tonight?
Well, I don't know if I'll get it totally finished tonight, but it'll be a good effort tonight, I'd say.
And people who are coming by, they're stopping and admiring this. What have they been saying to you?
Well, I think they're quite happy with it. They're a few oohs and ahs, so it's going well.
How would you describe your style? Is this typical, the figures, the faces? If we saw a work by you in any other setting, non-musical, would we be able to tell that this is your work?
Yeah, I find once people know my work, they'll recognize that it is figurative and simplistic, I guess. I get more inspiration from folk art than sort of classical, so that it tends to lean in that direction. So I mean, people I study would be Picasso, Chagall, Beckman, so it's more simplified in that vein.
And where can people see your work or buy your work?
Well, I'm looking for a new gallery in Toronto, but in Hamilton I have a studio there, and in Ottawa there's a gallery there, in St. John's, Halifax. So it keeps me busy anyway. So.
Right. Great. And your name?
Conrad Fury.
Excellent. Thank you.
Pleasure. Have one of these.
Right. I just go, where are you guys? I don't know. Great. Great. We're very cool. Only my first.
Not emotion, it's emotion. You don't ask, man. You know. You just said you said the tone.
Can't get your drink.
Watching me, huh?
Yeah.
You thought it was really funny. Mark, give me my wine.
I think that's the trend about it. Oh, no.
For Demorier's concert stage in Toronto, I am joined by Ian Thornley, Big Wreck's lead vocalist and lead guitarist. We have David Henning, the bassist.
Hello.
Forrest Williams, the drummer.
Hello.
And Brian Doherty, the other guitarist.
Hey. Oh, the
other guitarist.
The guy on the end.
So Demorier Concert Stage has given you the opportunity to fulfill every band's dream, playing with a symphony, incorporating all these other artistic
every band's dream.
elements. It's probably not Britney Spears or NSYNC's dream. So you're all
Certainly one of ours.
graduates, or at least former students at the prestigious Berklee College of Music in Boston. How have you applied what you learned there to this?
I haven't really applied any of it, actually. It doesn't really come into the, into the fold as far as. I mean, these guys, they're doing a whole different thing. That's more of a jazz kind of. They use jazz as a sort of teaching curriculum.
No classical training?
A little bit, really. Yeah, it's
basic.
But it's nothing like these guys. It's sort of out of control. They're just over the top of it.
They're the ones out of control.
No, what?
They're applying their knowledge from school.
Yeah, they're the ones that are sight reading and stuff. We're just kind of
We're doing our
doing
thing.
what we
They're
always
putting
do.
on top of it
Yeah.
of what we do.
putting on some very sophisticated icing on our little cake.
Right. So describe the experience for me when you already performed with the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra.
That was a great. The whole week actually in Edmonton was a great time. It was a great thing. I hope at least this can match it or maybe top it. It was a pretty special thing. Because, like you said, it was kind of fulfilling a dream. It's certainly something I never imagined would happen. I don't think any of us did. But it sort of brought back like a nervous energy in all of us, that nobody's had. It's kind of like every show is kind of like, oh, we got to play now. Peel yourself off the couch and get on stage. But now it's like, granted we're all just kind of getting up now, but I'm sure before the show we're going to be like, remember that, you got to remember that thing. Remember that, don't, we're going to be like,
Don't drink any more coffee. You're freaking out.
We are highly skilled, accomplished musicians now playing with equally skilled
Oh,
musicians
no,
in a whole
equally.
other area.
They're far,
Well, in a whole other
far
area.
beyond
though.
where we are. We're
Right.
kind of hacks.
But usually
compared
when
to
you're on
these guys.
stage, you're with other
We're the
rock
cool-
bands that aren't as accomplished as you.
We're,
now
we're
you're
always
playing,
the big kids on the block. Now it's like, sort of get schooled a bit. But you know what? It's still a different thing. It's just the
Is
meeting
it
of two
intimidating?
worlds, if you will. No, God no. I mean, it would be if I was a classical guy, but it's like no, and it's not intimidating or weird for anybody because everything's written out for them. They got their parts, and it was nice to get feedback yesterday. When they ran through it the first time, they were like, "Oh, this is great." Some of them were like, just sort of put their violin down. And Forrest is hammering away at the drums. They're like, it's too loud. But some of them were like getting right into it and like,
Song.
that's exciting when you see that. It's sort of people that you would always think of as being uptight or whatever. But, music's music.
Did you attempt any songs from the Big Wreck catalog that didn't work in this format?
The ones that didn't work, we knew beforehand.
No, we haven't played them in probably a year or so. Some of them you just know that they're probably going to lend themselves to or fit in that context. And some of them were obvious, just no-brainers on a few of them.
So what is it about Big Wreck's material that does lend itself to this context?
Too many parts. Too many. When you put out a record with too many parts on it, and there's only 4 of us,
We need to take these guys on the road with us.
Yeah, totally. We got an extra 30 guys to cover it, and there's still stuff missing.
Is there a particular song that is majestic, outstanding?
They all are.
that-
Every song's epic
Yeah.
now. Everything's like this, this
Turn on
giant
the wind
boat that's-
machines.
Yeah.
It's very heroic.
It's tough to hold them back. Even in rehearsal, I'm like, oh, God.
Here come the
And none retain the
Hold me. Oh, this is hard.
It's a lot more emotional.
and none retain that 3 to 5 minute radio friendly original rock format.
That's not really us, is it? It's never been, even if we don't have a symphony with us, it's not really our bag. So it's kind of nice to, be nerds in all of our glory. Let's geek out and have a good time. Actually get away with it.
Do you actually feel the power of a 30-piece orchestra behind you?
Yeah, when you take we got these the in-ear things, which is, I'm not particularly a fan of this. I don't think any of us are. He is. But, definitely where Forrest usually is, there's a whole big thing behind him. So, there's a whole energy there that you can feel.
And what about the energy that you feel from the crowd? Can you gauge that?
Well, you know what? It's different than normal shows because there's nobody, sort of getting, unpleasantly pissed and fighting and, moshing in that whole.
There's no
Just
people
sits-
yelling, look at my
melee.
girlfriend. None of that
have
going
to
on.
sit down. And everyone's sitting down and listening, so you have to prepare yourself for the noise. And you know what? In Edmonton, I was pleasantly surprised with that it wasn't, because I was kind of worried about dead space between songs. Like, oh shit, just start the song. But people were like, yeah, just sitting in their chairs. And at some point, I was like, fuck it, just stand up. And everybody's like, fuck. And that's pretty cool. Just, all these people just stand up at the same time.
So it's a burst of applause in between each song.
Yeah. And then they're kind of forced to listen for once, which is cool. Not that they don't in another format, but here you're really sort of forced to listen to it. It's like, and again, we don't really fit into that 3 to 4 minute rock format or whatever. So, if what we're doing we think is more of the listener-friendly kind of music, then this is the perfect forum in which to do that.
When you were approached by Du Maurier to test out this format, you could have brought in any number of elements.
Yeah.
You could have had fire breathers. You could have had
Really?
keys artists.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Pyrotechnics? Line
What made you
tamers?
decide to bring in a couple of guys from the Tragically Hip, to bring in Eric Johnson, to bring in you know,
Well,
Circus.
We kind of brainstormed on just like all the different elements of a show that, you know. So I wanted like a real sort of jug band kind of feel for part of it, like a real acoustic kind of, and just to sort of show all the different sides of, you know, and then, you know, the Eric Johnson thing was that his name was being thrown around. It was like,
oh, his name's been on you guys' list since you guys were starting.
Brian and I were like huge Eric Johnson fans for a long time, and still are, of course.
Even bigger now.
Yeah, bigger now. But we just started brainstorming, like, well, what can we do? We were thinking about all kinds of visual stuff and, you know, screens, and it just sort of like you throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and whatever sticks and whatever can happen, you know, and then people and their availability and
right. So tell me some of the craziest ideas that you threw out.
Well, I thought we were going to do a show naked, but that didn't fly. Brian wouldn't let me.
Some city bylaw or something.
Everyone naked?
Yeah,
even the
Naked Symphony.
Right.
These old dudes.
And David?
Oh, I didn't have too many ideas. I was more hoping.
He just showed up,
pretty much.
Forrest?
Well, the Tango drummers were already. That was an idea that brought to us, and I was just psyched about that, you know. And yeah, that's about it.
Brian, apart
Nothing really in
from
particular.
Eric?
No, definitely the Mr. Johnson thing is.
So this must have been organized very quickly. It was just like throw out, you know, 3 names, and you got a symphony, you got the drummers, you got the acrobats, a couple of guitar players, and that's the end of that.
Yeah. We had people to do that stuff for us. It was pretty easy for us.
Think for us.
We did.
We pretty much show up.
We just showed up.
What are we doing now?
What are we doing?
Eric Johnson's coming? Cool.
Cool, he's really good. We're just going to hang out and watch the guy noodle
So
away.
is this giving you ideas for the next Big Wreck album? No? We won't see
we're not-
string
we're-
sections
we're
on the
certainly
next
not that
album
lofty.
or Japanese
There's
drummers.
no way we could afford it. Who are we kidding?
synthesize
Unless Demourier
synthesize.
starts a record label. You know.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I thought they would be listening a lot more.
Okay, just be like this. I'm going to be your support.
Hey, I'm Forrest, and this is Ian.
That's me.
From Big Wreck, and check us out on November 1st on Simpatico for a worldwide webcast.
Piece it together into something good. Okay. Hi, this is Dave from Big Wreck, and I want you to watch our show on November 1st, broadcast on the World Wide Web on Simpatico.
I'm Karen Bliss, joined by Grammy-winning Texas-based legendary guitarist Eric Johnson.
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great.
Thanks.
So this, I imagine, is Big Wreck's
Yeah.
transposed music score to the symphony, and you'll
Well,
be accompanying
yeah.
the symphony along with Big Wreck.
Playing a few songs with them, yeah. I'm doing like a song called Look What I Found and a song called West Virginia, and then a couple other pieces where I play with the symphony and the band. But yeah, it's been a nice opportunity to come here and play with these guys. I'm enjoying it.
So how much freedom do you actually have?
To leave the building, you mean? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, on stage, you know, we kind of worked out a thing at rehearsal where we had like a skeletal deal, and then it was kind of just like, well, we tried to figure out a way that I could add, you know, be free to play musically, but try to add something as a supportive role to kind of infuse it in the music, so it's not, you know, not me just, you know, doing my own thing, but then not me doing nothing, just playing, you know, the down on the bottom either. So it's kind of just trying to find that balance where I could add something texturally.
Right. Are you playing any Big Wreck licks?
Well, his songs, yeah, licks that are involved with the song composition. Yeah, I try to learn those, do those too.
Right. And what about trading off with Ian Thornley, the front man, and another wizard guitarist on Big Wreck?
Yeah, I don't know if we're doing it in the orthodox way of trading off, you know, doing it. It's not. I don't know if it's so much of like that guitar thing as it is just, you know, he asked me to just come in and just kind of figure out a way to do my stuff to kind of sit it in the music. So there's a lot of dialogue happening with this, but it's not. I don't think it's set up in a traditional way of okay, you play and then I'll play and you know like that. But those things could happen. I know that they have a special encore number they do sometimes, and when we did it in Edmonton, the first of the 2 shows we did, and that kind of started happening. There was all this kind of build up and interplay happening.
Right. I mean, there's so much happening on stage at certain times. Sure. I know you're up there for the majority of the show.
Just a few songs, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
He was telling me you're up there for the majority.
Yeah, I see you in Edmonton.
Okay, well, can that part of it.
No, actually, I'm up there, but I'm not supposed to be. I only play on 2 songs, but I like to hang out up there, and they can't get me off.
Okay, so let me ask you, with the symphony, with the taiko drummers, with the acrobats, the harp player, the opera singer, is it distracting at all?
No, it's actually cool. It's a really neat show because, you know, obviously you have the band, you know, you have the Big Wreck thing, which is the central fugal part of it, and that's where all the dynamo's coming from. But then you have all these little spices that I think that the general direction everybody's taking with those supplementation is just to kind of, you know, to kind of just infuse a lift in a little different aperture to this music. But obviously it's a Big Wreck concert, you know, but it just makes it kind of eclectic and kind of interesting. And just the fact of taking their music and putting it with a symphony is a really cool thing just in itself. It really lends itself because they have this really kind of heavy, kind of all their own version of orchestrated heavy thing, and then when you put the symphony, it's really cool.
Is it the type of interdisciplinary show that you wish you were out in the audience watching it?
Well, actually, when we played in Edmonton, I did go out in the audience and watched it because since I was only on for a few songs, and you know, they have a really great sound man, and just their whole vibe and their whole thing, their whole recipe of their gig is just kind of cool. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's interesting to be a part of it, and I think one of the reasons it's interesting to be part of it is because there is that good vibe and there is that good, you know, interplay between everybody. So and that just makes the music more interesting when you have that. You know?
Right. Now, both yourself and Ian are known in the rock world as virtuosos on your instrument, but you're playing with some tremendously accomplished musicians from the classical world as well as other art forms. So how is that for you?
To be doing this gig, you mean?
Like with other sort of almost higher level musicians from that
It's great.
area.
It's always a challenge because, you know, there's you can always get inspired and challenged by people. You can get inspired and challenged by people that barely play at all. You know, if their heart's in the right place, it's really not a matter of what you know; it's what you do with what you have. But as somebody that has, you know, say more library books in the library to choose from, as long as they selectively and discriminately use that, it's just all the better. You know, when you if you get a great classical musician, he's not always going to go nuts all the time, but he still has at his dispersal that backlog of just any particular thing he wants to draw from. So if he uses it selectively and discriminately, then it's all the better. You kind of have the best of both worlds.
Right.
And you know, being in situations where people have different versions of that, it's just really stimulating and it's great. I think it helps give you a reality check on what you're doing too, so you don't just sink in yourself. You know?
And let me ask you lastly, you've been around a long time, you're highly accomplished, you played with some tremendous artists over the years. Do you think Ian Thornley will go down also as a legendary guitarist?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I think the thing with Ian is he's a fine guitarist, he's also a good songwriter, and he's a really fine singer. And he's put together, you know, this band is good. I think he's in it for the long haul. I mean, he's you know, pretty young guy, and he's just kind of, you know, tapping in on what he can do with what he's doing, and it's cool. And his songs, the songs have a little bit of a different left to center thing to them, you know, and that's what it's intriguing about him, you know, and I think that's part of his quest. When you can kind of hear that him questing when he writes as he puts that together. So I think they're, you know, those guys are going to just go on and do their thing. Yeah.
I know he highly respects you, but I'm not clear on if there was a relationship prior to the DeMaurier concert stage, or if he just got word that you were his pick.
No, I think what it was is they asked me just to come up here along with other musicians. I mean, you know, they have the Japanese taiko drummers and there's a myriad of things happening. So I'm just one of the many things that's here, and you know, it's a pleasure and an honor to be involved in it. I hadn't had the opportunity to know Ian before that, or Forrest, or Brian, or David, but now it's been, I mean, they're a bunch of good guys, and they've got a good thing going, and it's been a pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
I'm Karen Bliss for DeMaurier's concert stage in Toronto, and I am joined by Samuel Tetreault from Cirque Eloise.
Hello.
So your specialty is hand balancing.
Yes, that's what I do. I've studied at the National Circus School in Montreal for 7 years, and I've worked a bit with Cirque du Soleil, and now I am working with Cirque Eloise. And we've been invited here in Toronto to do this DeMaurier concert stage event. And I think it should be really interesting, because it's going to be a mix of circus performing. What I do is really close from dancing as well. And so I get to do a first part with an opera singer on a piece from Puccini's opera. And so that's going to be the first bit I do. It's really like classical music, so that should be interesting. And at the end of the show, I'm going to do another bit with Big Wreck in kind of a group finale thing. So that's going to be more rock music, so it's going to be two completely different grooves, so that's cool.
Have a good one.
Some of us are done. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, that was great. Hey, you know what? We'll get you this again. Yeah? You know? That was a pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
Great, awesome. Great charts.
Not holding our. Oh my god. Awesome. Thank you. I think it's like. Killer.
That's great.
Killer.
Yep. Oh yeah, this way.
Stay that way.
Yeah. And the girl. Now? Right. We're in. Good one, Ian. Never need a good one. You never know. Just give it. I had a really fun evening. Go on, work up your crowd. Fantastic.
Sounds back of the cabinet. Okay, so he might want to get that at one point. No problem. And I'm going to arrange with him what he needs to. He may even appreciate that. Yeah. That's no. That's on camera.
That was so cool.
I know. I'll keep it for my own archive.
Can I ask you what you thought of the first half?
Excellent.
And you're a big
job.
Wreck fan?
Yeah.
So what did you expect going into it, and has this matched or exceeded your expectations?
Exceeded, definitely. Yeah, it's been great.
Favorite part? What was unique, unusual, majestic?
Oh, it's just the whole energy is great.
It's just amazing. I can't believe it. I can't believe they sound that good. It's wild.
So what can't you believe about it?
I don't know. It's just it's so great to hear them in somewhere where it sounds so great.
What did you think it would be like?
More rowdy, more. I like just being able to hear how they can play, hear how they sound. It's amazing.
And what about the other artistic elements?
symphony,
The guy
it's
who
great.
came out to start like spiraling up the
Well, awesome.
material. And what's your name?
Sean.
Last name?
Owen.
Meredith, same there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I ask you each what you thought of the event so far. If it's What do you think?
I think it was alright, you know.
Just okay. You could have done better.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. But the symphony, I couldn't really hear them. I didn't think they were that great. I figured there's going to be more people in the symphony.
You didn't think the Toronto Symphony Orchestra was that great?
Well, so far, you know, you can't really hear them over the band, so it's alright though. I'm enjoying, you know, of course.
Matched or exceeded your expectations?
We just hate it. No, I'm kidding. He's exactly what we were just commenting on how the studio sometimes makes it, you know, much better than they are in reality, but he is bang on, you know. He's like popping in the CD and
So you're familiar with Big Wreck's material?
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. You know, we're very happy. Very, very happy with the performance.
And what about all the other artistic elements?
Well, at first when the acrobatic guy came out, you know, you could hear a couple people laughing, and you know, we didn't really know what to expect, but definitely that guy, you know, he obviously proved that he had, you know, great talent. Yeah, very great talent. So we're very appreciative of, you know, the mix, and we're interested to see tragically hip people and the drums, you know, see what the Japanese drum people have to offer.
And yourself?
Exceptional
Yeah.
show. Exceptional show. The guy is awesome. The talent, the musicianship, showmanship, but not even. Maybe the lack of showmanship and just talent, raw talent. It's an awesome show.
So the two of you are obviously Big Wreck fans.
Yeah, very much
Listen
so.
to their music.
Yeah.
Have you seen them in a club setting?
No, we have not. No, we haven't. I mean, if we had, that would have been, I think an intimate setting would be a real treat for these guys. But no, this is great too.
So you came out to this because of the whole spectacle and the event uniqueness of
We'll be
it?
seeing them again for sure.
Yeah.
And will that live up to this? I mean, this is so interdisciplinary.
I think it'll just be different, you know, like I don't think it has to live up to anything. I think this is like unique in and of itself that, you know, they put together a show and the next one will be whatever their new releases are and go from there, you know.
Excellent. And your first name?
Lois.
And Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
See ya.
Actually, I thought it was very fantastic. I've never been to like a symphony program, and I thought it was tasteful. And the only reason I came here is with my girlfriend.
Oh, it's a gift, or she dragged you along, or she's a
No, she didn't drag along. She actually got a whole group of people to come along, and it was a great idea. Everyone's enjoying themselves.
Are you a Big Wreck fan?
Yeah, I am.
Have
But
you seen them before in the club?
yes,
or
I have in Oshawa at Lakeview Park, and that was this summer.
So how does this compare?
A lot better.
In what sense?
Just professionally wise, like, it's just, it's a whole different atmosphere, obviously. Like, before it was a little bit more of a drunk, I would say, and now it is more professional. A whole different crowd of people.
Do you think you'll go to a symphony?
I would, yes I would, and I've never would before.
And what's your first name?
Henry.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Not at all. Your comments
on the concert? It's amazing. I don't
your
know.
favorite part?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Or the most
when the members of the
unexpected
hip
moment?
came. Yeah.
Listening to Big Wreck with the symphony just was amazing. Just Ian Thornley did a fantastic
Oh, and more. And more. Fabulous job.
Sounds safe to say. What about you with the 2 posters?
Oh, I'm a big fan, so I was just happy to see them perform. Anywhere would have been fine.
Seen them play.
Yeah, yeah. But this tops it. This is probably the best performance.
And what was your favorite part?
Probably when the orchestra was playing. I really enjoyed
Was
that.
the majority of the concert?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the whole thing. The whole thing was great. So.
And what's your name?
Janice Aguilas. Janice? Thank you. Thank you.
It was amazing.
What was your favorite part?
The whole thing?
The whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing. It wasn't a best part. It wasn't totally amazing. I just think this will be the best concert ever that I ever go to. I'll remember in 50 years.
But what made it?
Hey, how's it going?
Just because of like the greatest band, and I think the orchestra and all that just gave that extra bit of edge that I don't think many people can get.
So you like all these different artists?
Oh yeah, I think it's. Oh
Actually,
yeah, it certainly is. It goes with the music. Beautiful.
Anyone else? What's your name?
Steve.
You look startled.
I look what?
Startled.
Startled? No, I didn't see that guy behind me. He just crept up on me from nowhere.
And what did you think?
Excellent show.
When they integrated the drummers with the TSO, with the performance artist, it was the best part.
And had you ever seen the taiko drummers before?
I have seen them once, and seeing them in this combination with, really progressive hard rock, and then the drums, it's just like all that primal energy coming together with all this modern energy was just amazing to see. And then
what about the dancers?
The performance, the acrobats were incredible. I've never seen anything like that done with a show before in my life.
Right.
It was great. I've seen Circus but these guys were. TSO is always amazing. They shine, especially in their home here. They were great. Really added to the whole richness of the sound of it. Michelle. Thanks.
Words, kick ass. That's all.
That's not going to get on TV. Let's see the poster that you guys have picked up.
Hold that.
Were they handing these out?
Yeah, they're sending them away. There's the boys.
Where will this go?
Where will this go? I don't know. Wherever I have space in my room, I suppose. More than likely.
And what's your name?
Jason. No problem.
The combination of all the different artists it shows rock music's ability to unite disparate elements of music. You had the Japanese drummers and the circus dancers and the Toronto Symphony Orchestra playing along with Big Wreck. It was amazing.
And just enough disciplines, or would you like to see more implemented?
Oh, I'd love to see more stuff like this. I'd love to see more combinations of different artists and different styles come together and collaborate. Because it wasn't like one artist and then another artist and then another artist. They were playing together, and it was a really collaborative effort. I thought that was a beautiful thing.
And no one overpowered the other?
Well, it's a Big Wreck show. No question about that.
And Big Wreck can stand next to the TSO?
Oh, yeah. It was great.
What's your name?
I'm John Sidorovich.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight's show.
No, that was unreal. It was really good to see the guys up there doing that.
Are you jealous? Do you wish you were up there?
Well, it's not really jealousy because they're so close. Like they're sort of like family. So it's kind of like not jealousy.
So no urge to jump up.
Well, I was like a couple rows back too, so it wouldn't be easy to jump up. But yeah, I had the urge at one point. I was going to run up and grab Dave's face for the jam at the end.
Is this something you would like to see the Watchmen do with all these different art forms incorporated into your live show?
Well, yeah, I mean everything nowadays musically is about combining all the different stuff. They did it really well tonight. So it was almost comical is the wrong word, but at times it's sort of like it's like Genesis and those guys doing the whole sort of orchestra thing. Nobody's doing that right now. It's just so fucking good. Really brought them back to the roots.
So even though you likely had the inside scoop, was there a surprise element for you?
Just how good it was. I was talking to my sister, and I just asked her how rehearsals were going and stuff, and she said, "You're going to be blown away." And I was. You know.
Your sister.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay. How does your sister figure into the Big Wreck family?
She's friends with Ian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's just put it that way.
All right.
Mistake to mention. I swear you can edit that out. No, it's I knew to expect something big, but I wasn't expecting it to be that cool. They really pulled it off. What did you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, out of all the concerts you've seen, is that like one of the coolest?
That
or
and
what?
Sigur Rós? Sure.
Come on, though, wasn't it up there?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it really was. You don't see that,
With
especially.
the taiko drummers are fascinating. The scarf guy was mesmerizing.
that was pretty
handstand
incredible.
dude. One of a kind.
It was awe-inspiring. And I mean, you know, nothing against Canada, but you don't see Canadian bands doing this type of thing. You know, it's a budgetary thing. The Yanks have the money for it. But
With the help of Demorier.
hey, I just had a Demorier cigarette.
Did you? Hint, hint, Demorier, that the Watchmen might be the next concert stage.
Not that I'm promoting smoking or anything, but yeah, no, it was a really good show. What are you doing? What is this?
What am I doing?
Is this your new thing?
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me focus a little bit. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me focus a little bit.
And did you make that?
Yes, I did. The band has actually seen it. They seem like they like it.
It's very tasteful.
Yeah.
Tasteful but fashionable.
Yes.
And what, did you do this especially for the concert?
No, just for my own.
Excellent. And I see you've got a number of posters as well.
Yeah. I can get
wallpaper your entire room.
I could. But I'll probably give them away because I have a few websites.
You're a huge fan. How many times have you seen them play?
I've seen them 4 or 5 times. Met them about the same amount.
And what was your expectation for the show? Typically about this?
Way past.
What did initially?
I don't know. I just knew it. I figured it'd be amazing, and it was just beyond that. Actually.
What did you like about it?
Just the entire kind of package.
But you're a fan, so I don't want the pack answers like that. The trite answers I'm getting from everyone else.
The facts.
Songs, which songs stood out for you? What arrangements were changed drastically that were unbelievable?
Just the arrangements of all the songs. The fact that they had the orchestra to enhance it. But I've never been to a sit-down concert like that. It's just really good.
What about the taiko drummers?
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Guys coming out.
Yeah, that was great.
Are there any songs that you'd like to see released? A special live edition album? Yeah.
Very amazing band live.
Favorite part?
Just being here. Similar enough. It was so good. Ashley.
And do you have a Big Wreck website?
Yeah. I have a Yahoo group called Big Wreck. It's big_wreck. And also a Big Wreck club called Big Wreck Lighthouse.
Yourself in the mirror.
Nadine will want to speak to you.
Who?
Nadine.
Where is she?
She's downstairs. She's going to be coming up in a few.
Okay.
I'm Karen Bliss for the Demorier concert stage in Toronto. I am joined by Jim McGraw. He is the arranger and conductor of this magnificent event. As well, we have concertmaster Mark Savoie and Dan Blackman, the violi.
violist. Viol.
And Dan Blackman, viola player. Thank you very much for coming
You're
here
welcome.
and being involved in this incredible event. So let me start with you, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
You're the person who actually got hold of Big Wreck's 2 albums and went through the material to see which songs would best transpose to an orchestra.
With Ian, actually, Ian, in case people don't know, Ian Thornley is a pretty serious musical talent. He's the one that wrote all the songs, sings them all, plays all the guitars, and so he had a pretty strong opinion of which ones he thought would work. And except for maybe 2 or 3 of them, I agreed 100%. Then I found a couple that he hadn't thought of, and so we're doing. I think we do 11 tracks with the orchestra.
So how do you ensure that the orchestral arrangement doesn't overwhelm this 4-piece rock band?
How do you ensure the 4-piece rock band doesn't overwhelm the string arrangement? Is more like it, because it's unbelievable how loud these guys are, and so that is not a problem. The orchestra overwhelming them.
So did you, in fact, have to direct Big Wreck, tell them to tone down the heaviness or the playing in any way?
Nope. Actually, we owe a great deal of the success to this project to 2 guys, Tony Crea and Charlie Ferguson, who Tony is the string engineer. He's recording. Every string has a microphone on it. He's taking care of them, and then Charlie Ferguson is the front of house guy who combines the strings with Big Wreck, and they're doing an unbelievable job.
Now tell me, does their background, their training from the Berklee School of Music shine through in their performance?
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're really confident. They're not the least bit freaked out by doing this. And they play in tune, which is really handy. And, no, they're just amazing musicians.
And have you ever played with a rock group before?
Yeah, a couple of times. The most recent being the band Yes, who actually was most famous, I guess, in the 70s. But yes, oftentimes rock groups come along and want the strings behind them.
What about you, Dan?
Oh yeah, I started off that way. One of the first things I did when I was a teenager, I went on the road with a few bands that did the JC Superstar tour, and then I did Rod Stewart in the summer, did the Yes. What did we do last summer?
Did any of you guys do Page and Plant?
Yeah, Page and Plant.
You did Page and Plant.
You did Page and Plant, so you actually played Kashmir and all that?
Led Zeppelin thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Get the inner Led Zeppelin out of you.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
So tell me, how does it compare working with a great band like Page and Plant from the past and working with a contemporary rock band?
Well, one has less familiarity with the material, and so there's a newness. There's something really cool there because you've never heard the music before, by and large, and you try to back it up as best as you can. And Jim has done an unbelievable job with his arrangements because usually strings can be used as sweetener, just as background, and this is not the case at all. We actually play.
Right. Do both of you actually familiarize yourselves with Big Wreck's material from their recordings, or you go strictly with Jim's transposing?
Well, actually, I think the closest I got was I went to a CD store last week and said, "What is this thing Big Wreck we're playing with?" And the guy pulled out a Big Wreck CD and played it for me. I said, "Well, that's cool." It translates. Where are we going to fit in, But Jim did a great job, as Mark said, of writing the charts. So we actually have a good part to play in this show. I think it should be real good.
And how different are the reinterpretations?
You want to hand?
Well, no, because me personally, I don't know the original. So what I know is what Jim has created with his arrangements, and it really works very well.
I mean, is there occasion where a song that you would sense is a 5 or 6 minute song is actually a 15-minute song?
Well, you better answer that.
I don't. Actually, there's some epics that we are doing. I think the longest is about 6 or 7 minutes. But the thing, Big Wreck is playing exactly like they play off the record or whatever, and we're adding to that. So it isn't actually like a reinterpretation; it's an augmentation or an addition.
So what is it about Big Wreck that you think lends itself so well to playing with an orchestra?
I think it's just Jim's ingenuity at figuring out. It's like whoever did the Procol Harum thing back in it was late 70s.
Yep.
Late
60s.
Late 60s with Edmonton Symphony. Somebody was inspired by the music to create something a little bit fresher, a little newer. See if they could cross over the elements of so-called classical playing with rock, pop music and see where it goes. And if you get somebody that knows what they're doing, like Jim does, you end up with a good product. And I think this is going to be a real hoop, just the same way that was.
Well, I think the difference with these arrangements in this band is a lot of these rock bands, when they go over to the symphony orchestra, I get these alarm bells in my head that go like, the end is near. This is like the last step. And with Metallica and other bands that have done this, with this, there's no hint of anything like that. This is just they're trying something else. It's really.
So what makes one band's attempt sacrilege and another's not?
Even see one before in person, so it's cool.
So the three of you actually worked together in Edmonton at the Demorier concert stage there. Describe the experience.
It was a thrill because we were given Big Wreck CDs and basically given a lot of freedom to come up with something that would suit Tycho and their music. So when we got together in Edmonton, we had maybe 4 hours together to work on 5 songs. And so it was pretty thrilling and exciting. So between both groups, I think we managed to figure something out that worked. And I think it is true to Tycho. We're not laying low to play with Big Wreck. We're still pumping it out. So that's what's exciting about the collaboration, is that we're still being Tycho drummers.
Right. Right. Yeah. I understand that Tycho is Japanese for big drum.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Forrest, how do you prevent your big drums from overwhelming or overshadowing the Tycho big drums, or vice versa?
I can't compete with these things. Mine's like a little toy compared to these. No.
But you have microphones.
Well, so do you, though.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge sound. It goes well with Big Wreck. It works really well.
I think the range of tones are different enough between a drum set and Tycho that they don't compete in the same sonic space. Because you can hear the band, you can hear Big Wreck play, and then you can hear Tycho along with it, as opposed to stuck in the middle of it. And it doesn't get muddy at all, I think, for me.
So which...
Yeah. This is a new experience.
You're like, yeah.
So how do you two keep this guy away from your drums?
They let me play.
Don't. We're happy he's interested.
Right.
Yeah, if we had time, I'd like to show him.
Actually, she showed me some moves.
Can
Remember?
we see?
No.
Let's see what you can do.
No, I was like,
The bare
maybe
minimum,
later.
the simplest.
That's after.
The simplest of patterns.
No, it's not. No, she showed me some
It's
dance.
movement.
Oh, some dance.
Yeah,
'cause
and
they
that's
dance,
what you
They
do.
dance around the drums. Like,
That's what you do after at the after party.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Some,
So-
Karen's sorry, we're getting upstairs,
So typically, Uzume drummers. I'm Karen Bliss here at the Big Easy restaurant, about to interview the winners of the Excite Your Senses Demorier concert stage experience. So let's go interrupt them while they're eating. Hopefully they won't talk with their mouths full. Hi, I'm from the Demorier concert stage series, and I just wanted to interrupt you before you get your meals and talk to you about the performance and what your expectations are for the concert and how the weekend's going so far. Maybe you can introduce yourselves. One of the winners? Very nice. And what are you hoping or expecting?
We're not hoping or expecting anything. I think it's just going to be amazing. We already saw it today with the band and met some of the pictures and stuff like that. I think
just all the preparation that's going into it. I mean, it's guaranteed to be quite respectful.
So just from the rehearsals that you saw?
Well, just all the stuff you saw when we were there, and the amount of preparation that was going into it, and the different things that said were going to happen, would be quite an event, I would say.
Now you're dressed well with a beautiful suit. Are you more a symphony concert goer or a rock concert goer?
I go to rock concerts.
Okay, so this is a put-on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I go to concerts like Metallica.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
he doesn't, but I do.
Let me assure you that they do want people to stand up and hoot and holler and give the devil salute. That's the word, even though you're at Roy Thompson Hall.
I got a couple more days to spend with her, so you know. I don't think.
Are you the concert, the contest winner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and who is this lady here?
Jacqueline.
Okay. So, like, then are you more into the, I'll come around, actually. So we know that we're going to see your husband at the end of the concert with his tie like probably off and his shirt undone and the jacket on. Now what about yourself? Are you a Metallica fan or?
Not really, no. But it sounds like it's going to be really good because there's more there than what we originally thought tonight. We just thought it was a concert, but now there's going to be a guy. What was that thing that was hanging?
Circus Eloise.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. But with the same type of theme like Circus Eloise.
That's part of the symphony's going to be performing.
Right. And are you a big Wreck fan? I'm assuming that you are.
Yeah.
I won't ask you to sing a line.
No, you better not.
Did you familiarize yourselves with Big Wreck before you came out?
Oh, yes.
Yes, in what ways?
Oh, we took a couple of CDs. We bought a couple of CDs.
Actually, I've been overwhelmed, so I've learned not to expect because they keep exceeding our expectations. They've been spoiling us, so it's been fun.
And are you a big Wreck fan?
Yes, we are. Craig and I love them.
Yeah. Is that why you entered the contest?
No, we didn't know that it was going to be about Big Wreck, and so it was just a pleasant surprise when we found out it was them.
So,
got to meet them earlier today. That was quite the experience. That was pretty cool. We got to meet them. I don't know. I was just talking with the lead singer there, Ian, for a while, and I was a guitar player myself, so trying to get some info out of him on some sounds that he's created. Yeah, they're super nice guys. Yeah, he's quite something else.
So what's interesting?
He didn't really give me too many tips, but he just kind of gave me the goodies on how he gets a couple of his sounds.
Did you get to play with his guitar?
No, that would have been nice, but
that's another.
Not going to push the envelope here, but yeah, it was really cool just to get to meet him and chat with him. They were really laid back and didn't have a care in the world. So it's nice to see that they were glad to see us. Great, here's another tour. Whatever,
What's your name?
My name's Craig. I'm from Calgary.
My name's Candace.
She'll put that in the envelope.
Thank you.
Now, what is that?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be escargot.
Remember you're going to? I
will be great, yes.
You don't want that caught on camera.
Come on.
Spit it out.
Right.
Now, is this too fancy?
It's nice, actually. It's nice to, like she says, experience different things, like things necessarily that we wouldn't do anyway, just to get the experience of it.
I think it's supposed to be one each.
Exactly.
I think that's why, yeah. Have you ever been to a symphony concert before?
Never. No. I went to see Nirvana, and that was the last concert I was at.
There's a symphony of another thing.
Taps are cold when you're riding on the boat.
We get one.
I don't even know. We have like water festival, so it's kind of
I kind of wanted to see the little tiny diamond like but where I work, I have to cover it with a band-aid every time I go to work.
Can you see it when you take it?
You try it first.
I don't take it out. It's not like me.
So they
I have to smell on purpose afterwards.
I refuse to take it off. Legally, if I wanted to be,
Yeah, they're not allowed to
that's right. I like my boss, I respect him, so it's no big deal. I cut it. So are you not going to try?
Hi. What's your name?
Jack. It's my husband, Kevin.
Hi. So is this typical dinner for the two of you back at home in, where are you from?
From Sudbury.
Sudbury.
I just took it out. No, this is very, very upscale for us.
And what other
Very
things
elegant.
have you been doing all weekend?
Oh, everything's been terrific so far. We just got here yesterday, so we had cocktails and hors d'oeuvres last night. We got to meet the other winners, and today we went and we met the Big Wreck and got a little tour of his symphony orchestra.
Right.
Well, the Roy Thompson. And we did a little bit of shopping and enjoying our room. Everything's been really close together so far, so we're scheduled. But so far, everything was
to
great,
nap.
and no time to nap. But no, everything's beautiful. Everything's better than we expected. Very, very upscale, and something we don't usually get to experience. So it's very nice.
And have you gone to a symphony concert before?
No, we're more rocks.
You're all rockers. Everyone here are rockers.
So Aerosmith last summer just passed, ACDC the summer before, so this is something a little bit different for us.
So do you think you'll be able to contain yourself in those nice plush seats and the sophisticated Roy Thompson Hall while Big Wreck and Ian Thornley's wailing away on guitar?
I think they just might have to strap me down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're used to standing up at the concerts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can't stay in our seats.
We'll have a
I
great
think it's gonna be
time.
fabulous. Thank you.
I don't count.
I almost.
I'm one of you guys.
Oh, are you?
So I don't count.
Honing in for a free meal?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're all contest winners. Yes. Two contest winners. Two yes. So who were the winners? Rock concert, showers, or symphony orchestra?
Can get out of here.
Country. Okay. And how about yourself?
Oh, I love that.
We're not eating that. So what are your expectations tonight?
Lots of, it's going to be a real event, I think. There's going to be lots of lights. Sounds like a pretty diverse something different. And I hear they did it once before in Edmonton. A big success, so I'm looking forward to it.
And the way that Maury has been treating you this amazing weekend one. I mean, is this what you're used to?
Beyond our expectations.
Yeah.
Really. No, it's not what I'm used to. Yeah.
No? At home it's hamburgers and french fries?
No, it's pretty good at home, but not like that. Yeah, it's not too bad. This is fabulous. Well, it's just beyond it.
Freaking out about right now. And I'll talk with your guests. What's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't get you. Mark.
Oh,
Mark. Where are you from?
Halifax.
Oh, okay. Have you been to Toronto before? Many times?
I actually used to work here.
Oh, okay. And are you a rock music fan?
We go to concerts. I'm not familiar with this band.
You didn't do a little bit of research before you arrived?
And the fact that the teenagers knew the band.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Right. Do you like Big Wreck or familiar with Big Wreck? Yeah. Were they jealous that you were coming to Toronto?
I think they're glad to see us go.
They got the host of themselves for the weekend.
Anyway, it's been very, very well. Very kind.
Excellent. Well, have a great time.
Thank you.
One last one. You're a guest as well?
Yes.
And your relation? Way. Are you a Wreck fan?
No, not really.
But maybe tonight
Oh,
will
yeah.
make you one?
Oh, yeah, maybe so, yeah.
Right. Have you listened to them or you're just not?
No, I just not familiar with their work, no. Somewhat, yeah.
You're a country music fan?
Yes.
So from what you saw today, what appeals to you?
The light show and just the whole setup there.
So your name?
Robert.
Robert.
Howard.
you.